hopefully streaming to all of our platforms this time, and all the technology is working in our favor. So, Ann and I are here today, and we want to talk to you about boundaries. Again, we've done a 5-part series on holding boundaries. And today we're going to be talking about holding boundaries around purpose. We've talked about holding boundaries around time and health and finances. And today we're going to be talking about holding our boundaries around our purpose. So the really important part about holding boundaries around purpose, purpose just in general, one of the biggest things that we see for a lot of our clients who come to us with issues with thyroid, hormonal, autoimmune, they come in with symptoms they don't know what else to do with, where they're gaining weight and can't figure out why they can't lose it. They're feeling fatigue. They've got some digestive issues. They're getting migraines or pain. They're having sleeplessness. Challenges, whatever the symptom is, it's usually just a message from the body saying that there's something out of balance or something that's causing an inflammatory response. And it's not the hormones that are the problem, and it's not the migraine that is the problem. They are just the symptoms, but something else needs to be addressed. So let's talk about one of those things that need to be addressed is actually your purpose. So when Anthony and I are working with people, we're looking at them physically, we're looking at them as mental body, and we're looking at them as emotional or energetic body. What we found is a lot of our clients, they feel they are disconnected from their mission or purpose. They're feeling disconnected to why they're here. Something has changed in their life. They're empty nesters. They've gone and they've retired, or they're changing jobs, or they're no longer getting the energy or excitement out of the business that they're running, or the job that they had, or just the life mission that they once had. Something has changed. And when we're disconnected from purpose, we also start going into something we call identity crisis or identity conflict, where you don't know who you are anymore, right? And when you look at things like autoimmune, for example, it's the body attacking itself. And when the body attacks itself, it's because it doesn't necessarily recognize all the parts of itself to be part of self. And when we're out of alignment with our purpose, we're out of alignment with our identity, we don't know who we are anymore. This is where we start to see challenges coming in of people and symptoms showing up, alerting them that something is out of alignment. And we want you to look at that energetically right now. Being out of alignment physically, also not in your favor. So let's talk about boundaries around purpose. So Anthony, I know, obviously Anthony spends more of his time around more of the tangible things that we have, that we work with our clients. So the labs and the science and the physiology and the movement and the working out and the supplementation and the nutrients and the nutrition for clients. So Anthony, when I know you look at their labs and it's saying everything is fine, or even when something is out of whack, in the technical term, out of balance. I know you also look at purpose and alignment and the emotional, energetic body too. So what do you usually, I know what you say to clients, but what tell other people what you usually tell people?
Yeah, well, even way before someone becomes a client, when I have a discussion on the phone with them, very often, more times than not, their identity is lost, which you mentioned, and they feel they have no purpose. The point of the phone call is usually more about health, just because over the years they are not the person physically that they were, and they lose hope. They lose purpose. Their identity is challenged. But with the physical body, and I like how you say that, or I say the same thing, that you do more of the energy, emotional trauma. I do more of the physical body. But when I meet with a client, we go over blood work or run blood work on them. You'll see things like immune issues, right? In a CBC portion, the white blood cell portion of a CBC, you'll see digestive issues. A big part of that is heart energy. So there's really no labs directly look at heart. There's cardiovascular, but you may see some issues there, some inflammatory markers going on there, things like that. Just like I said before, the body, the immune system's jobs, plural, is not only to protect you but help you heal, but it's it is protecting you from you. Hence, it's attacking healthy cells, tissues, because it doesn't recognize them as self, like you mentioned, and that's its job. It's very confused or way out of balance.
Right. So when you're seeing symptoms, whether they're smaller symptoms where it's you're feeling a little more fatigue, you're not sleeping as well, you're not absorbing nutrients the way that you once did, or you're seeing something more dramatic where you're seeing autoimmune conditions, you're seeing thyroid conditions, you're seeing hormone issues. They're all basically still saying that there's something else going on, that these are just indicators and messengers to tell you you are not aligned. You are not aligned physically, you are not aligned emotionally, you're not aligned energetically. So when we look at people, we look at them as a whole person and we take all of those things into consideration. So when you feel disconnected or not as connected to who you are and your purpose and why you're here, and you're not excited about life the same way maybe that you once were, or things that used to get you excited no longer do, we want to start looking at some of those things and saying, what's going on? We all go through phases in our lives. What got us excited when we're 8 is not necessarily going to get excited when we're 48. Maybe we are, but most people don't usually find that their purpose stays exactly the same throughout their lives. So we go through these ebbs and flows, we go through these ups and downs. And if you're in one of those transitional stages and you're in one of those transmutation stages, what you'll find sometimes is you feel like you're kind of not connecting the same way. Maybe you don't feel like you're connecting with your partner the same way. You're not connecting with your family the same way, your friends. Maybe you're not connecting to the job that you have, and it's no longer exciting to you. And that's okay. What the challenge is when we get involved with something and we feel like we have to stay with it forever, right? So we don't set boundaries around things that keep us connected to who we really are at our core level. And a lot of us, and this happens around the age of 35, and it can go up to about the age of 50. So somewhere in the middle there, a lot of us go through what they call an identity crisis. This is actually a literal phase of life where shifts occur in the brain. We have different life experiences. Life starts to shift in a different way during these ages. And we have a different perception on things. And what happens is a lot of us start to question or challenge the person we were growing up and why we chose to step into those actions and those thought processes. And a lot of it was because of who was raising us, who we were hanging out with at the time, and what tribe or what group, what community of people we were looking to help us decide what was the right way to behave. And a lot of our clients come to us, and one of the very first things that they tell us when they start working with us, or even before they start working with us, is I feel like the black sheep. I feel like I don't belong. I feel like I'm not part of something where I make sense to it. So what happens is we squish ourselves into these perfectly neat little boxes of who we're supposed to be, and we hide our true authentic selves. That is not hidden from our physical or emotional bodies. We may be able to hide that from people around us, but if we're trying to squish ourselves into being something that we don't really feel in our core because we think it's going to keep us safer or loved or liked or part of the tribe, what we're doing is we're going against the grain of who we really are, and that actually creates conflict within us, emotionally, mentally, and physically. So somewhere around the age of 35 to around 50 is when we start to really think through and question, why do I behave the way that I do? Why do I take the actions the way that I do? Why do I get frustrated by what I get frustrated by? Why does my life look like the way it does? And a lot of times our lives look the way we think we're supposed to have them look based on how we grew up. Then 35, 38, 40, 45 starts showing up, and we start to question that. And we start to kind of try and step into our own in a very different way, which causes conflict with the people around us, which is where the boundaries become really important. Are we doing things because we think it'll keep us safer within the group and the community that we're in, or are we doing it because we truly believe it? We truly feel it. We really, truly resonate and connect with it. So this is where that conflict, that identity conflict component part of our phase of our lives. The majority of people will continue to try to squish themselves and go back to staying safe, doing the things, saying the things, thinking the things that they were told that they should think and do and say in order to stay part of the group. So if you find yourself doing that, and you find yourself in conflict, and you find yourself out of balance and out of alignment, you want to start asking yourself, what would my life look like? Who would I be if I didn't have all of these other people around me that I think are telling me to do things this way? What if I just stepped into who I truly was? How would that look? How would that resonate? How would that actually influence the flow of my body, the flow of my hormones, the flow of my immune system, and how it protects me or gets confused? So the boundaries that we set, no matter what we set them around, whether they're around our purpose, whether they're around finances, whether they're around time, whether they're around our health, the purpose of our boundaries is to protect ourselves, to keep things out that no longer serve us or never served us, and to keep things in that do serve us. Think of them as kind of a fence. We want to protect ourselves from things coming inside that we do not want, and we want to protect ourselves from letting things out that we want to keep inside. We want to keep in who we really are. And I don't mean keep inside like you're hiding something. I mean, just keep inside to stay balanced into who we really are and resonate with that. So our challenge for you this week is to start asking yourself, am I showing up the way I am? Am I making the decisions the way I am? Am I taking action, having thoughts? Do I live where I live? Do I have the job that I have? Do I say the things that I do because of someone else's influence on what is right for me? Or do I say these things? Do I have the job? Do I do the things because of who I really am at my core, my authentic core? And a lot of people get very confused by that because they've never really lived in a world where they felt that they could just be themselves. So a lot of people say, I don't know who I am. How do I know? And what I'm telling you is your body knows. Energetically, your body knows. Are you stepping into who you really are? We call it the butterfly self here at Nourish. Or are you trying to stay with all the caterpillars because you don't want to look weird? You know, you can't have butterfly conversations with caterpillar people, as we say, which can cause conflict, which is scary, which can be really frightening because some people aren't going to want to move through your butterfly stage with you. But holding on to those people is going to crush and suffocate your butterfly self. So we're going to challenge you this week is to start looking at the decisions that you make, the things that you do, the things that frustrate you, the things that get you excited. What influence are you allowing to come through on the way you're supposed to behave, what you're supposed to think, what you're supposed to do, based on who raised you or the people that are around you versus who you really are. When you get into alignment with who you truly are and start stepping into that, your body will find alignment. We are inherently capable of finding true health, emotionally, mentally, and physically, when we align with who we really are. And that's what Anthony and I do with our clients. That's what our team does. We help you find the alignment. The misalignment or the out of balance hormones, the misalignment or the out of balanced immune system, the misalignment or the challenges that you're having with symptoms, they're just indicators that you're out of alignment with your true authentic self. So start setting boundaries around what you allow yourself to do, who you allow yourself to be influenced by, and are you allowing that true authentic voice to come through and speak? When we have clients who start to understand how to do that, they start to recognize where some of those traumas are beneath the surface, telling them that they have to act this way, even if it's out of alignment with who they really are, because otherwise they wouldn't be safe, or they wouldn't be loved, or they wouldn't be liked. They would be shunned. When they start to understand how to find that balance, that alignment, and they start to listen to their true selves, that's when true healing really happens. I mean, you could try to force your hormones into balance. You could try to force your labs to be perfect by taking medications or having surgeries or taking tons of supplements. But that will only work if it does work for a short period of time, because the true underlying core issue isn't about the hormones being out of balance. That's just the message. The true underlying issue is that you're out of alignment. So Anthony, I know I just kind of went off on my own little tangent there.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I remember growing up, it was, you go to school, you get an education, then you get a career and you work until you 65 or whatever. You have 2.5 kids. You get a house with a picket
2.5
fence.
children with the white picket
2.5 children.
fence.
Yeah. You get a house with a picket fence. That was the Cinderella story. That was the program that I remember being told ever since I was really young. But speaking about challenge, you wanted me to remind you about that.
Oh yeah, that's a good segue, babe.
You like that?
So
transition?
we do have a challenge. It's the Revivify. It's actually not a challenge. It's a masterclass series. It's a 5-part masterclass series. And I brought in other amazing women who I know who are just badasses, queens on them to themselves, who are coming in and doing this masterclass series with us. So there's 5 parts. We've actually done 3 of the 5 parts already. If you register for the event, and it's a free event, you can go to nourish123challenge.com. You will have access to the replays to the first 3 masterclasses that we've already done, and then you will get access to the ones that are coming up. We have an amazing one coming up on Valentine's Day. It just so happened we were doing them every other Wednesday. It just so happened it fell into a Wednesday, and it was Valentine's Day. And it's a good friend of mine, Michelle. She's amazing, and she and I are going to be talking about self-love and how that actually equates to healing and embodiment of health. So she's coming in to work with me. And then I have my friend Crystal, who's going to be coming in on the 28th of February. And she and I are going to be talking about body health and weight loss. And we're going to be talking about just how to find balance energetically, emotionally, and physically as well. So if you sign up, all you got to do is register for free at nourish123challenge.com. You will already instantly get access to watch the first 3 of the masterclass classes that we've already done all in January. And then you will get access to either join us live or watch the replays when they happen of the next 2 masterclasses for February. So get on that. It's going to be us really digging deep. The last 3 that we did were amazing. The one we just did on January 31st, I did with my friend Trisha. She is an emotional eating and addicted eating specialist. So she and I got into all of the emotions and the physical addiction issues that happen when we overeat. We eat the things that don't necessarily serve us, and how we get drawn to food when we don't have healthy relationships with food. So that was the most recent one that we did, and you'll get to see the other 2 when you bounce over to nourish123challenge.com. So I highly recommend that you get on that and really just get access to see some of our other amazing colleagues in the industry who are helping women find alignment to get to their healthiest butterfly selves so that they can find the true healing and health that they're really looking for emotionally, energetically, physically, and mentally. All right. Nothing else. I don't see any other questions coming through. So you guys have a good rest of your Monday. We have bounced over to Mondays just because it's working better for our schedules for right now. We will see you next Monday for our next live coming to you from our offices.
Cool.
Have a good rest of your day.